Hey, it's Kimberly Smith Austin, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Made to Inspire podcast. I am here with my awesome and amazing co host, Misty Kerrigan. Hey, Misty.
Hey, Kimberly. We're getting into fall, one of your favorite seasons, not only because it's your birthday season, because the weather, right? Where you could run any time of day you want. But really, one of the things we love the most is the fourth quarter.
Woo, it is time. It's approaching. What is that, 2 weeks from now? My
2 weeks.
birthday kicks off the fourth quarter.
There's a word for that, right? Like serendipitous, where you were born on the first day of the fourth quarter and you're a action taker in action. When people ask me, what does Kimberly do? And I'm like, puts a foot in my butt. Like she makes me get action. She is action. She sets what she needs, where we're going, and then puts in the steps to get there.
I love that. I love that. And let me say this, I apologize, but I don't.
You always say, I'm not for everyone. I love that. But if you need that spark, you are definitely the one. And we have a special episode today because and I'm going to be honest, Kimberly did not want to do this episode, but I'm in awe of it. And it really folds into project management. And both of us coach together and in our own companies, we do a lot of service-based business coaching. And what we notice in some of the service-based businesses, people love what they do. They really love what they do. But you eloquently put it right now. You said, but you're still trading time for money.
Absolutely.
You're still trading time for money. And what if something happens? Or what if you want to go burden free on a vacation and not worry like you're losing so much hours, but you don't want to leave your service-based job. You don't want to own 8 locations. You don't want to do anything else. You love what you do, but you want some of those extra funnels of money coming in to sustain and grow your lifestyle.
Yes, I think it's essential. And I'll tell you, as a serial entrepreneur and long-term entrepreneur, it's necessary. We must have multiple streams of income. Let me say that again. We must have multiple streams of income. Misty, right before the call, you told me about one of our good friends who is a really high performing chiropractor in our
Absolutely.
city, fell at an event. And guess what? She earns money based on her ability to work on clients. Her hands are her money maker. But as a result of her fall, guess who's down? And so when we think about that, we have to have other things in place to make sure that our money keeps flowing, right? No matter what.
Absolutely. And even our friend there has I bought lots of pillows,
Yes.
specialized pillows, vitamins. So she's got it. She's coming out with like a coaching book. So it's like she really hears what we say. But I don't want to say, I hate the word one of the easiest projects because I think one of the hardest things to do in life is to do what I'm going to talk about next. But it is so much one of the best ways to start increasing your income is your knowledge.
Yes. Yes. In fact, I don't know if you remember back when 2020, when the pandemic hit, and at that time, everyone was at home and we were stuck, as some would say. But
Yes.
at that time, what happened is the knowledge based industry blew up. They were saying it's a $360 billion industry. Tony Robbins, Dean Gracioso, and all these folks that were out here teaching, they blew up even more at that time because they started teaching people how to take their knowledge and turn it into an income. And I
Mm.
love that because now here's what happened. What was 360 billion back in 2020 has now become a $1 billion money maker on a daily basis. $1 billion are being made every single day. Wow.
Based upon people's expertise, knowledge, and experience. And
Yes.
as a business psychologist, I'm always coaching people that we're in a world right now where they're telling kids not to go to college, don't buy a house, so if you have knowledge in a certificate program or different products, that is the way of the future. The whole college thing is still, there's a lot of colleges shutting down and all the major institutions that have been around for hundreds of years, they'll be there, like the universities, if you will, but all those pop-up colleges that happened in the 90s and 2000s because we were told go to college, get a good education, get a job, it's not what they're being told. And so one of the best ways is, I'm going to hold it up for those of you watching us on YouTube, is a book. One of the
Yes.
best ways to get your knowledge out there and to add a product to your ecosystem, your business ecosystem, is a book. Now,
Absolutely.
one of the funniest things, if you know Kimberly, you know that she keeps a notebook. And in this notebook, she writes down all her future ideas and all the ideas she wants to bring into fruition. And in there is a couple of books, probably 20 to 100 book ideas and books that are on her heart to write or that God put in her heart to write. And so one of the things, and she's currently working probably on 3 of them as we speak. We're
You make
excited for
me
those to
sound
come
like
out.
a crazy idea maniac.
Well, holding up a plug for our first book, Millions of Possibilities, taking our ideas from inspiration to monetization. Link will be in the chat. This was one of our first labors of love book. And at the time where she had no time, we were months before a conference, our annual Women Empowered Women in Wellness conference that we have each spring. She was not only leads our board and the nonprofit, but she's the driver behind the entire conference, kicking all of us in the butt to do what we need to do to help. But so she has this going on. She's getting the location, we're getting the speakers, we're doing all this. She's takes care of her mom, raises her son, who's now, shout out to ASU, he's now in college. But everyone always talks about time. One thing Kimberly didn't have was time. And you call me and you say, hey, remember the book I wanted to do 2 years ago? It's time. And I said, are you sure? We have a couple months till the event. She said, nope, I picture it now. We're on stage and we're holding up our Empowered Women in Wellness Courage to Shine book with multi-authors through diverse stories, inspiring others to get through their sort of challenges or diversities to come out on the other side, what's waiting for you. And I laughed because I usually laugh at her when and then she looked at me and I said, oh crap, you're serious. And she says, Misty, it's time. This book is coming out in 2 months, with or without you. Are you in? And for me, I'm always in. I'm like, tell me what to do.
Wait. I did. And what did you do? You didn't do it immediately.
Didn't do it. I was thinking about it.
But I didn't mean to call you out on that, but I just had to say.
She did have to nudge me a few times. She gave me grace and opportunity. I'll put that out there. But we're doing our 3 steps today. We're going to do it a little different because we're going to tell you the story and then the step, and then we'll put them all together at the end. But the first thing that Kimberly does, and why I'm holding 2 books that I've been blessed to be with her with, is she defines what we're doing. She defines what she's doing. You have this famous saying, you're either committed or interested. Which is it? And so define, get committed. And she said, Missy, this book's coming out. And then she reminded me that first week when I didn't turn in my chapter, she said, it's coming out with or without you. We already got other ladies, and there's a few that are not in this book. Honestly, there's a few that had amazing stories, but they didn't get it in time. They procrastinated, or no shame or blame to them. But this book was getting done on a timeline because it needed to come out, and you defined when it was coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you, that is the first step for anything, no matter where you are and what you're doing. It all starts with that dream. You have a dream, you're defining that vision. And I knew that this was something that could change lives around the world. And in fact, I'm really excited because the book has been traveling around the world. People in Europe, people in Asia, people in Africa are purchasing this book. And where?
Japan. We have Japan, remember?
Yes, all over the world. But it was because, and I don't want to put myself on a pedestal, but what I will say is that there was a vision there. And I knew that in order for this vision to happen, I needed to solidify it, not just for myself, but if I'm doing this, I needed to make it clear. There had to be clarity in what this was. Is it a book? Is it a show? Is it a conversation? For me, it was clear that it was a book because we know that a book has the power to travel the world. People read it, and it's not a one-time read. Sometimes these things replay in our heads and they replay in our hearts. So this was what I saw, and I just knew that there were other folks that had stories. You know, you said that took their chaos or took their challenge and turned it into courage, because that's what it takes in order for us to step into this new season in our lives or become the better version of ourselves. So I took it and I said, we can do this. We can do this. And I'll say this because sometimes we tell ourselves that we can do this and we let life challenges stop us from doing this. And as Misty said, there were so many things going on: running a conference, helping my mom, who's now legally blind, getting my son off to college, traveling around the country for 2 trips. There was a lot, but I knew that this meant a lot, not for me, but for the women that were involved and the people, men, women, children that were needing to hear and read these stories. So the vision was there. I needed to make it clear and to decide what would I do next.
So I love that. So if you're out there and you have a business and you have some knowledge, defining what that looks like and how to get it to people. Is it a book? Is it a course? Is it speaking at a conference? Both of our biggest ways that we get our messages out there and that we build our businesses up is speaking.
Mhm.
And with a book, as we speak, we could also, in back of the room, we make a little bit more profit from the speaking, because after you tell your story and you give your knowledge, people are going to want something in hand. They're going to want more of you. And I'm blessed to be a better speaker because Kimberly was my mentor, and she's right. Like, we travel the world really, and the message and the speaking. So getting to bring a book along, I just took this book with me on 2 conferences. I was speaking on 2 different stages, and this was the book I took and was able to sell after I got off the stage and impact lives. But I want to go through, as you defined what was going to happen. You defined the timeline and when it needed to happen. And then you didn't do it alone. You could have wrote a Empowered Woman in Wellness, Courage to Sign autobiography.
Yes.
Your life is phenomenal. I love telling people about your vegan, marathon running, coaching businesses, raising a kid, taking care of a mom, and still a pillar in the community. You're always volunteering in your sorority, which made me laugh because I was like, I thought sororities ended in college. And you're like, not this one of the first African-American women sororities to start, and people never leave it. And you're really big in the sorority. You're really big in each year in our community. She hates me for this. You throw a marathon on Memorial Day for families of wounded and past soldiers. So it's never like you're not busy. That's kind of the joke, right? Is you're always in something, doing something, helping something. So you decided, and I'm most proud of you decided to take a team with you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to do this book alone. If I can get a team to help me, this book is going to be even more successful. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How did you decide on the people that you wanted to help you in your dream here?
Yeah, that's really good, Misty. And I'll tell you what I have learned over the years. It is not the how, it is the who. Who is going to come alongside you to bring this thing to life? Because me solo handed has proven that it can be unsuccessful. And we know that. We talk about it all the time. I am the best doctor. You may be the best doctor, business owner. Misty may be the best doctor. But when it comes to being a good patient, sometimes we fail. And I knew that if I wanted this to succeed, as a visionary that I am, if I wanted this to succeed, I needed to get other people involved. And that means identifying the who's the team, who are the players in this playground, if you will, that are going to bring this thing to life. And so, I thought about women that I had some relationship with, maybe some acquaintances, and maybe some that I had deep long-term relationship with. And I reached out to them. And I will tell you, some of them said yes immediately. They knew the vision. They saw the vision. And I casted this vision back in 2019.
Yep, I'll attest to that.
Yeah, 2019. And I went back to some of those folks from 2019, and the timing wasn't right for them. And that's okay. And then I went to one of my dear, dear friends and I said, write the book. And she said, no. And she said, no, all the way to the end. But she's in this book because I don't give up. And we'll talk about that in the next segment.
But the next thing, right? So I love because you decided on the team, and the team itself is so diverse with different relationships you've had in life, but also the women in the book had different struggles. I mean, we have overcoming racism, overcoming sexism, overcoming ageism, overcoming feeling you don't have a voice, overcoming weight issue. Like, there's just so many. There's a story, I think, for everyone in here who's ever came up against diversity in any shape or form. And each story is so uniquely different and we've already recognized this as so many people are just getting to connect to the different stories. Absolutely. So you decided on the team, and then it went so smoothly, right? It's like you blinked and everything went into place and you didn't have to worry about, why are you laughing? So here's the thing. If you have a dream, you define what it is, you decide on the team. I believe God says, "Oh, really?" and tests us. Like he's like, let's see. Most of the time, if it was that easy, everyone would be book authors, skinny, driving their favorite cars, living in a mansion, right?
Right. True.
But after the deciding of the dream, obstacles kept getting in the way.
Obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. But what I've learned, Misty, is that we have to reframe and retrain our brain. And I have retrained my brain to recognize that an obstacle is an opportunity. So those obstacles came up, and I said, no way, Jose, this is happening. This is happening. And if it was God's will for it to happen, and if it was anything within my ability, it would happen. So maybe initially I anticipated 20 to 10 to 20 authors being in this book. And guess what? It ended up with eight being the
Including yourself. So
including
7 and you.
myself, 7 in me. It turned out to only be 8. But what I realized that 8 has significance, new beginning. That's infinity. That's a mark.
Vanity.
And so when you talk about courage, those 8, 7, including me, plus 1, 8, those were signature events. Those were signature individuals who said, yes, I am going to take the courage not only to share my story, but I'm going to write in this book. This is a courageous act. Who wants to display and share some of their life deepest secrets or deepest hurts and pains? If you read this book, oh my goodness, you'll be blown away. The first chapter, this is a friend of mine for over 25 years. I did not know this story. I knew bits and pieces, but she laid it all out on the fence, laid it all out in the book, on the pages. And I love that because that's what that true courage is all about, which is what this book is about. Because we have to step past those obstacles, look at them as opportunities so that we can live out and shine, which is the name of the book.
You
But
know,
go ahead.
step 3 is don't give up. You decide on your team, and you don't give up. Like these are the action steps and action, to sound funny, right? These are the steps to get to action. And the don't give up. What I always admire about you and drives me the most crazy, well, one of the things that drives me crazy about you is you don't give up on your divine vision of what you want for something. And we bleed joke like you're a perfectionism, but it's more of you're an excellence. And the don't give up means you had to stick to the vision in your head for even what the cover was going to look like, and you never settled for anything less to whatever I'm going to say, like a computer term, what God downloaded in your heart to be able to bring forth in creation. And so sometimes the don't give up is for individuals. It doesn't mean don't quit on what you're doing. It means don't give up on the standard you have set for what that is to be. And I'll be the first is I'm holding this up. The link will be in the chat, but I took this to 2 conferences and people were blown away and even moved by the cover. The cover was like a magnet to people coming over and picking up the book and kind of looking at it. And there was some setbacks where you were told there's too much going on. You can't do this amount of color. This will never work, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, you know what? Maybe you're not the right person to publish this then, or maybe you're not the right company because this is the vision, the download from the source, and this is what it's going to look like. And I'm going to not give up on what that looks like. So sometimes don't give up is not just don't give up on the project or your goal. It really is don't give up on the standard you've set for it.
Yeah, that was huge, Misty, because in the process of getting this book out, there were many obstacles that came up, including, like you said, the book. I went to a publisher and said, hey, this is what I want. And shared the vision, went through it, and it didn't work. It didn't work. I could have said yes, accepted it, and allowed someone else to take this project on from start to finish, but it wasn't what was placed in my heart. And as much as, that whole meticulous, yes, that would describe me. I will tell you that it created a challenge, but yet I was determined that we're going to press forward with this and bring this thing to life. Bring it to life. And that meant changing from publisher to publisher, changing from editor, changing from even where it was published and how it went out into the marketplace, but yet keep putting one foot in front of the other throughout the process and never giving up, never losing heart. Because, they say trials come, but joy comes in the morning. If we keep pressing toward the mark, we will surely get to the finish line. As a runner, to that finish line is our final destination. And I'm excited to see that the Courage to Shine has made it to the finish line and is impacting lives and helping women find their shine,
Mm.
define their shine, and live out their life.
It truly is. And we're in over the next 2 episodes, what we want to do is work with you guys on what's your project. Is it a book? Is it a course? Is it a class? And we want to show you because Kimberly, you did some marketing things with this book that are unheard of and went very successful. I mean, I'm going to give you some of the previews, like to the sequel. The part 2 here is we did a book signing with no books.
Yes.
Right. We did a virtual event that had more people. We did a virtual launch for a book that had more people than most people get in their physical launch. But I think it goes to show, and we're going to give you the strategies behind that, because if there's one thing that we're blessed with, it's the ability to strategize. But if it's the one thing, and I don't know if it's the athlete in you, when you were in the army or in the different things that you do, but you always, and we even have a podcast about it, you just always find a way to pivot without your attitude decreasing. Like yeah, you could pivot, but you could also tell when someone's upset. You could tell when something's not working, or you get their sadness or their anger, but you're like, nope, no books are here. We're going to make this a learning class. And not one person left early. In fact, we had to kick people out of the event because they were so moved by the way that you just made it then a conversation connection, and a way for those that were in the room, men and women, to connect with one another through the stories in the book.
Yeah, that was so much joy, so much fun. And I'll tell you, even though at the 9th hour, it was the 9th hour that I found out that the books were not going to be here on time, I made the decision. I reached out to the team and said, hey, no books, but here's what we're doing. We're going to do a workshop. We're going to make it interactive so the people engage and that they desire and want that book even more, because now they're living those principles out. They're feeling those principles out. And they're like, must have that book. They're going to hear from the authors of the book. And I'll tell you, Misty, you did a lot of the facilitation that evening. You made the night fantabulous. Fantabulous. And what happened is, what I love is that for those of us that had maybe an author copy, we were willing to give that up to the audience.
Oh, yeah.
So they can have it. We still signed books at the event, despite not having the 300 or 400 books that we had ordered. And guess when they came? The next day. The next day.
Which, and she's going to kill me for saying this, which Kimberly personally delivered to homes the next day.
That's right.
You drove them each, spent the entire day driving from home to home and making sure they had their copy of the book.
That's right. That's right.
So I love that. So we're going to take the next couple episodes into a series and help you guys define out, what is that product for you? Is it a course? Is it a book? Is it one of my clients, I had her design some wands, because she's known as the fairy godmother. And those wands are going to bring her $20 to $50 extra. I figured if Harry Potter could do that at the Harry Potter world, charge $100 for a wand, some of my clients that are coaches can be able to help people with trigger objects.
That's right.
So we're going to help you define what it is. We're going to help you really look at how do you really pick that team, and then give you the strategies of marketing and of implementing it out, and then give you the pitfalls so that you don't give up, that we get your knowledge and your service business wisdom nuggets out into the world, and you profit.
Building your own ecosystem, because that's what we need to do in today's society. Building your ecosystem so your company is not just contingent on that one thing, but there's multiple things in place to ensure that your income is consistently coming in month after month, day after day, helping you build that cash flow so that you, emergent leader, entrepreneur, even executive, will take this thing to the next level. See, we know that there is something out there waiting for you.
Now tune in next week so we can help you go get it.